The Foresters Forest project has been a fantastic opportunity for Lydbrook Primary School. The school have taken this project, which has been running now for the best part of 5 years, as a whole school project. And that's been really important, that every member of staff has really engaged in the project, and we teach it from nursery right through to year 6.
It just lets us open up our minds and discover what we really know and feel about stuff.
It's all about practical hands-on experiences which add to their knowledge but also inspire them in whatever area of geography, history, writing, and they've been able to visit and link it very closely to where they live.
I've been to Clear Caves, and when we went down there it was amazing. If I just closed my eyes I could imagine I was there. Somebody mining, somebody just pushing the carts, all sorts.
It was really fun. We even got to use real wooden pickaxes and dig into the mound.
As somebody who grew up in the Forest of Dean, I've really been on a very personal journey myself with the Foresters Forest, because when, as history leads, we decided to rewrite our history curriculum here, I actually didn't realise the amazing links we had in our very special and unique local area.
Doing the natural science curriculum has made me more aware of we don't need to travel, everything we need is within the forest, not only from the science aspect but to the history and geography. We can do all the stages, all the historical periods through the Forest of Dean.
There was a cottage and there was a Victorian lady in there. Well, she was not an actual Victorian lady, but she was pretending to be one, and she said that she had the hot water bottle, and I said that I have a teddy one that goes in the microwave, and she was like, "What's a microwave?"
There are several nature reserves within the forest. There's War Greens, I took a group of children to. We pond dipping there, we lay in the meadow, we looked at the flying insects and the butterflies. Of course, that fostered the interest in the children, so we came back to school and did the same activities here at school. What was so wonderful that some of the other places, including that area, the children encouraged their parents to take them again, so they were the guides and took the parents and older siblings or younger siblings to the same areas.
When I go on walks with my family, sometimes they point out interesting things like different types of trees and animals. I just think that since I moved to the forest, I've learnt so much about the environment.
It's nice to think that our legacy will live on at Lydbrook School because we've changed the wildlife area so much.
There's some really good apps that the children have taken on board where you can go to historic places, see it now, hold up your phone, and it goes back in time so you can actually see what it was like before. When we went to Puzzlewood, when we used that to explore the forest, we also noticed there was a lot of fungi there, which wasn't in the curriculum, but then it's launched into what could we see in autumn. That spread out into our artwork as well.
The work with the intergenerational projects came up as a fantastic feeling for everybody, where our children visited older generations in their care homes and explored what life was like in the forest in different times in history, and how those children got so much from it talking to the older generation.
And also for the children who don't live here, we've talked about, explain the word heritage recently with talking about our Victorian heritage, because that's our topic at the moment. And children that have moved into the area, they can see that they live in an old cottage. What were the people like, what were the foresters like that lived in their cottage before they came there?
It's so important to teach children this way because they will grow up having such pride of their very special and unique Forest of Dean and really be children of the forest and take that forward as their future generation.
It's important when this project comes to an end that the legacies that have been produced are very much still involved and available to all schools to link into. It is important that this project, which has produced such fantastic outcomes, does not disappear, and we can continue to build and develop it, educating everybody and everyone together.
Free mining has been in the Forest of Dean maybe since Roman times. We knew that the Romans took iron ore from the forest, so you could assume that somebody was working iron when they arrived. So our history goes back 800, 1,000 years documented, which is an amazing thing. Now I see our responsibility at the moment as the guardians of free mining is to be able to pass that on safely to the next generation. Our system of free mining here is based on learning by doing. So that's one of the most important things, but also it's one of the most challenging things, because we have to make sure that our knowledge is passed on to the next generation so that they can do the same. One of the things that Future for Free Miners has enabled us to do is to do some more technical training. I'm very proud that some of our youngsters have managed to do a very advanced first aid course pertinent to underground work, which is just below paramedic level. The lottery funding has enabled us to facilitate those courses. The other thing that's helped us to do is do basic machine training for surface work, which will come in very, very useful when we want to start new mines in other places, so that they can actually start their new dipple and be competent in the use of that machinery. So that's been very, very positive. As a result of some of the new legislation, we decided to form our own rescue service here in conjunction with the Cave Rescue Service for the Forest of Dean, and that's worked very, very well. We've managed to help equip their first call-out vehicle, Land Rover, with better equipment, and also we've been training together for the last 3 or 4 years, which has been fantastic. That's the cave rescue folks and the free miners working together to provide their own service as a first call-out facility for the Forest of Dean. 7 years ago, there were only 1 or 2 pits working. Most of the free miners were elderly. There was a lack of youngsters coming through. That's all changed in the last 5 years or so. We've achieved a huge amount. The pits now are very healthy. We've got 7 pits working. We've got about 20 to 30 youngsters coming through. And we've also developed a plant to change the small coal into briquettes, which will help make the small mines here and the free mines here very much more viable. And that's been a marvellous, marvellous thing. We need to pass that baton on to the youngsters so they can carry that baton forward into the future. We'll be long gone, but free mining must remain to be here in the Forest of Dean.
Well, the Worcester Walk Community Project is a great project because we're all really keen and really pleased to be involved with it. It's very much a community effort. Not everybody lives quite locally, but everybody lives round and about the Colford area and the forest.
It's nice and relaxed. People can turn up from disparate backgrounds with different all sorts of different skills and muck in, and it's a great way to make friendships and invest some value in this area and also create a legacy for the future.
And we just enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And if it helps a little bit, then that's all good as well.
That's what we want.
We involve the community as much as possible. Sometimes people walk past and say, actually, I could give you a hand with that, or you should do it like this, or if you put it like that, or if you bend that way. So we get some advice, which is great, from people who've lived here a long time. And generally people just enjoy the peace and quiet, the open skies, and the fact that they meet people and develop friendships. It's a sociable activity. This field is designated the Oak Field for obvious reasons. It has 13 lovely oaks and they've been here for at least 120 years. Hopefully they'll end up being veteran and ancient oaks if we care for them properly. We trim around the oaks, make sure that dogs and animals don't scrape the bottom of the trunks, for example. And we're also planting some new hedges, especially hawthorn, which benefits the oaks. There's some kind of symbiotic relationship. We just enjoy trying to care for these oaks and the land that they live on. We want to try and increase the biodiversity and enhance the habitat for wildlife here, which we're beginning to see the effects of.
What really interests me is the wildlife potential of this site. The work so far has been very much getting the site up to scratch, with gaps in the hedging filled and getting rid of a lot of the invasive species that will stop the biodiversity from flourishing.
We involve children from the local school who come up here, and they may do activities like building a twig tower, measuring the oaks by looking underneath their legs and looking at the axis, listening to see how many sounds they can hear on that day, whether it's birds or bees or whatever. We've also done some new hedge planting, and people like to see new growth, so it's involved a disadvantaged group from Gloucester.
This is the re-establishment of an orchard that was here a couple of hundred years ago, so very pleased that we've managed to establish some more apples, and I'm hoping we'll be able to make some cider out of these in 10 plus years if all goes well.
We've got a bench recently put into this field because lots of people were asking. They wanted somewhere to just sit and be and look. We've got people trying out their bikes, their two-wheelers for the first time.
There's been generations of kids around here. You know, you'll find some old marbles under the beech trees there that kids would have been playing marbles in the 1930s, and hopefully, you know, they'll still continue to use this area as they have done in the past.
This space has been used by foresters since about the 1670s as it's an enclosure, and we very much hope that in the future it will continue being a place that people like to come to and enjoy, and we'd like to make sure that children and young people especially are involved, so that when we all get too long in the tooth to carry on with the bracken bashing, etc., that other youngsters will come up and enjoy what we've done and carry it on.
It is a long-term project, and the Foresters programme has given it a really great start, but now it's got to be carried on by local people, which is why we're making the transition from the Foresters programme to a community group, Friends of Worcester Walk, that will be run by the community for the community. Lots of local residents have already joined, but we're hoping a lot more will. It will enable the project to move forward as it needs to, and then we'll start to see a lot more from the work that's already been done.
And more Worcester places around, dotted around, that's what we need, isn't it? Another area like this, yeah. Another mile. Yeah.